Okay. But I appreciate you for your yes. I appreciate you for taking the time to join us tonight. And so you are leading the panel with
Yes,
Mrs. Nicole Davis. So
yes.
tonight, hold on. I know I just messed it up. I know I just messed it up,
Yes, you
Nicole.
did.
How do you say your last name, Nicole?
Shantanode.
That. Mrs. That. Okay.
Yes, that's how you pronounce it.
Awesome, awesome. And we also have the beautiful, okay, the beautiful woman of God, Miss Lantoinette Clark. Thank you so much for joining us, Lantoinette. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So listen, I'm gonna get myself out the way and I'm gonna let Miss Ivory take the stage. You ready, Ivory?
Yes, ma'am. Look, just speaking about the lies, we tell us it was going to be some lies on this internet, this beautiful internet, because I had to like maneuver, jump out, jump in, because my internet did not want to cooperate. But I am here. I had to jump on the iPad because we had to get into some things today. Okay, ladies. Okay. But hey, how are y'all doing today?
I'm
I'm
blessed.
doing well. Well, thank you.
And you, how are you?
I am here. I am here. I am doing well. I am doing well. So we are talking about overcoming, and I'm just looking back and forth because I'm working both things today. Okay, just bear with me. I'm working both things today. So we are talking about overcoming gender biases in our careers and our business. And so me, I have been in the military. I just retired for like 27 years, and so
Oh,
I know
nice.
all about the gender biases over here. Okay, and I know it's a male dominant world over here. And so, Miss Nicole, tell me what gender biases mean in the workplace. Tell me what it means.
Um, so tell you what it means.
Yes, the gender biases. Tell me for those that this in the audience, they don't have.
Yes. So it's when you're talking about that working in a male dominated field, you have to ask yourself what's considered a field. And so basically a male dominated society or organization or even an area in activity, it is composed of one in which men have the most power and influences. And some of those examples include technology, finance, aviation, automotive, or even when you think about a software developer, or software engineer, mechanical engineers, those fields where you typically see are being dominated by male.
Okay. Um, and so tell us, and then I'm sorry, I got a little bit above myself. Miss Nicole, tell everyone, give us a little bit of bio. Give us your bio. Tell us about
Yes, so my name is Nicole Davis Chantanode. I just got married 3 days ago on
Congratulations.
thank
yourself.
you on May the 17th. So yeah, so happily newlywed, and my husband is Nigerian, so that's where you get that last name, Chantanode. I'm still learning how to pronounce it myself. I work in HR technology and operations. I've been in that field for about the nearly the last 10 years. Currently, I am a senior manager of HR operations and technology.
Okay, thank you. And Miss Lantoinette, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, so my name is Lantoinette Clark, and like you, I was in the military. I did 21, almost 22 years in the Air Force. I retired a long time ago. And after that, I retired from working in the refinery. So all of my adulthood uh, have been in a male dominant business. And so I really know what it's all about when it comes to gender bias. And I experienced so much of it. And so my degrees were in HR. So I thought from being in the HR hiring manager, and then on the other side of it as a supervisor in the refinery. And so I had a lot of experience with it on both sides. So yeah.
Okay, so with both of you being in the HR, do you think that the job descriptions, or do you think it's like more masculine um, when it's put out when it's put out, or do you think it's both masculine and feminine when it's the job description
I
is
will
geared toward
say,
is it geared toward?
right, I will say because of the most recent times where companies are really trying to focus on diversity and inclusion and equity, I will say that we're starting to see more of a different approach as it relates to job descriptions and ensuring that it is not actually, weeding out people just based on how it's written. And so we are seeing an overhaul in that, which I will say it probably used to be more on the masculinity side, but even within my current place of employment, we have done a deep dive of a lot of our job descriptions, and we utilize multiple streams of resources to kind of help revamp and revise some of those. We're also seeing an uptick in the utilization of AI, so that different types of machine learning or different types of program that you could use to help you write out your job descriptions a little bit more and to look for those key things to see, are we being diverse here, not just in terms of gender, but even as it the other physical elements that you could see, whether it is, on the basis of a racial factor, and then also too, you would also look at on the basis of even like education and things like that. So I will say that we have came a long way, but we still have a bit to go.
Yes, I would have to agree with Miss Nicole, because that was one of the things before I retired from the refinery. The job descriptions, they had a tendency to have descriptions, or they would have requirements in there that were more at the max, that would weed out women. Or even with the education level, that wasn't really mandatory to have a higher education, but yet they would put them in there that would to it would weed out a certain group of people. And so they were in the process of doing an overhaul and writing a job description in the refinery for specifically the lower level operator jobs. And so yeah, I would have to agree with her on that.
Mhm.
Okay, so now they're including both genders in the job description, but once you get in the door with the interview questions, are they being inclusive?
And with that, I would also say where I was, we made it instead of just say one person or two male during the interview process, we would make it like a board that consists of men and women, so you could have more equality when it comes to men and women when you're interviewing the applicant. And so that would make it a little bit more fair when it came to uh, interviewing for a male or female for the position, especially for a refinery. Because if you had a female walking in the door, sad to say, and you had just two men interviewing them, uh, it would be hard for them to pass the interview. And so we came to the conclusion, we meaning the management team, specifically the new plant manager, he wanted to diversify um, um, the workforce at that particular refinery. It was a small refinery, and he
Mhm.
realized the issue that we had. And so we made it a panel that consists of men and women equally to interview applicants.
Okay,
Great.
so do you think that if you have a female in leadership leading all men, Miss Nicole, is it hard to lead them or
Um,
manage them?
yeah, I won't generalize, but what I have seen, and I would even take it as far as even bringing in the diversity element of age. because I have seen where you may have a younger woman in a leadership position, and you may have some that have more senior or tenure than her. And sometimes they think, oh, what does she know? She's I have more tenure than her, more seniority, if you will, than her. Or I've been in this field a lot longer, versus just respecting the credentials that she do bring. Obviously, she was chosen for that role, for a position. And then also, too, it's also about how the woman carries herself, as far as just knowing and showing that confidence. Because if you are perceived as, what some may think, oh, she's a little timid, she's not a little bold, she's not, people will try to take advantage of that. But once you don't have to go around and say, I'm the big boss, you need to follow after me. And throw your weight around, or use your title as a scare tactic. You don't have to do that. But with anything, if you're not going to be respectful, if you're going to show insubordination, or if then there's a process that the business partners and employee relations will take to look into that. But I will say, one of my previous CEOs, she's actually was a lady, and I think she was in her early to mid 40s when she had became the CEO of the company that I worked for. And I will say, just her demeanor and how she carried herself, very respectful, but at the same time she was very open door. And I liked her style, and because of that, I did see that she was respected. But even if it was maybe behind closed doors, the chatter was happening, but directly not in front of her. So it's also about commanding professionally, your position, and standing confidently in that as well.
So, Miss Nicole, you bring up a good point. So sometimes when we get in, other females get in these positions, we feel like we have to compete, because now we're competing with genders now, right?
Mhm.
So only one of us can be at the top. So now,
Right.
are we competing with genders now, within ourselves? Do you feel that way?
I do. And then I sometimes feel that we could also be our own worst enemy as well, where there tends to be also some bureaucratic, like, struggles amongst the women themselves too, because everybody wants a piece of the pie. But the way that I see it, you can be good at a lot of things, but pick that one area that you want to master in. There's more than one seat at the table, which is why you have a panel, or why you have the C-suite, if you will. You have the chief financial officer, your CEO, the chief product officer. So you have all of these different positions, um, and just different elements of the workforce. Find your niche in the area and hone in on that. I think that's a good way to look at it, but I do feel like there is the competition, because the pool is a little bit limited, especially in the technology space that I work in. So you have two things. You have me as a woman, me as a 40-year-old woman, and then me as a Black woman. So I could put all of these, names for myself, but it's at the end of the day, I want my work to speak for itself. And I believe that the more, you strive to have those open doors and those respectful relationships with people, I feel like that is what helps to move the needle. But I have seen that competition, and even me, I have said at some point, it is a whole lot easier reporting directly to a male. I've said that at some points in my career, because sometimes women could tend to be just a little confrontational. Not saying that men don't, but we have to break those barriers so that men don't continue to see us that way, that we're being catty women in the workplace, that they can't, because we're leading with emotions, or we're leading with anger versus leading with facts, and being more rational, and not being so subjective all the time.
Miss Lantoinette, what have you experienced personally with gender biases?
Okay, so two things. When I was in the military, this is one of the things that really really bothered me when I was a senior, I would say senior management, and I was overseas. It was I hate to say old timer, but he had been in the military for a long, long time. He was a master sergeant. He had been in for, I mean, he felt like women shouldn't be in the military.
Oh.
Um, and not to mention a pregnant woman. I, I uh, and so it was like I had to prove myself. I had to do like 3 times more than the man that was under his chain of command, in his chain of command. Um, and so that was hard for me because I had to go above and beyond, and he still wasn't satisfied for the mere fact that he didn't believe women belong in the military at all. And so that was a struggle for me. And then in the civilian world, I was HR manager, and because I wanted to make a change in the workforce for women, I asked to go over to the other side to operation to be a supervisor in the operation field. And so the guys wouldn't accept me for the mere fact they saw me in the office. They could receive me and accept me in the office. But when I went over in operations, it was like they saw me as the weaker vessel, like I couldn't do the work. In their eyes, like, we don't want you to get your nails done. No, I want to get my nails dirty, is what they said. Oh no, Miss Lantonette, we'll do it for you. No, I know what the job description is. I accepted to do the job, so let me do the job, right? And so I had to prove myself that I'm not a damsel in distress. I can do this job. I know what the job description is. And so it took them a long time to accept me and let me do my job. And so when women came over, when I hired women in the career in that area, I would not allow them to play that role, although some tried. But if they read the job description and they knew that the job description said, you have to be able to lift 50 pounds, you have to be able to stand for 12 hours, you have to be able to do these things, then don't cry that I can't do this and ask a guy to assist you, because that's not right. That's not fair. And so we want them to look at us as an equal partner, right? To do the job, then that's what you do, because that's the reason why they feel we shouldn't be over here in operations. And so I tried to overcome the barrier like that. Like if I could do it and I showed them that I could do it, then when I hire a woman in, surely they can do it as well. And so little by little, we was able to chip away, break the barrier, break the walls, and the men out or was accepting and women coming over into operations.
Okay. So you bring up a good point. So it makes me go back to, like I said, I'm military. So when the Army fitness test changed, and they had before it was based on your gender, your age, and
Mm-hmm.
things like that, right? So it changed, and it was based on just your job. So whatever your job was, that's what you had. That's the amount of reps or push-ups
Mm-hmm.
and things you had to do. And it didn't matter how old you was, and it didn't matter your gender. So now if you were HR, men and women had to do the same amount of reps.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I was like, well, hold on. I want I wanted to pull the gender card because I'm thinking like so do you think that we pick and choose when we want to pull the gender card? Do you think that we want to be equal when
Right.
it's convenient for us, but then when it doesn't look good, we want to pull the gender card, when it's when it looks a little, teeter totter. So do you think that we do that?
I think so to a certain extent. I think so, because like I said, over in operations, the women they want the promotions. They want to be able to do certain things, but when when they don't want to do it, then it's like, well, I'm a woman and there's no way I can carry this uh, 20-pound hose up 11 flights of stairs, right? Well, that was the job. So why, but yet you want to get a promotion at the equal, rate of the same, you know, operator that can pull the hose up the 11 flights of stairs. So no, it has to be, it has to be one way or another. You want equality or not, right? And so yeah, I think we should want it to be fair across the board.
Right. What about you, Miss Nicole? How do you think that we we pull the gender card when it's convenient for us?
Um, I actually do feel that um, sometimes that card is pulled um, when it's convenient. But I would say in my field that I work in, I would say yes, especially if you're looking around and you're like, man, this person's getting promoted, they're getting promoted to senior developer. And sometimes it's within reason that they are using that card. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's okay, yeah, you're missing all of your KPIs, you're not hitting the mark, you're not showing up for meetings, you're not doing the extra work. You can't really use that card then. But if you're comparing apples to apples, you can say, I'm hitting my targets. I've been, making all of this progress. I've been led all these projects. I've done X, Y, and Z, and I'm steadily getting passed up for promotions. And there's no rationale, no rhyme or reason. Sometimes it may be perceived like that, and you're looking like, I'm not part of the good old boy club or something like that. Because sometimes people, unfortunately, they do get promotions and raises, or may get that job over another person who may have been more qualified because of it's who they know, or a friendship thing. But we also have to be careful with that too, because for me, I am very cautious of who I put my name on, and I am, I trust to try to hold you to that if I'm going to vouch for you. So yeah, sometimes I feel like it can be overly used, but for the most part, I think that it's kind of leveling, but it also depends on the field that you work in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of like switch it a little bit, because we identify, the gender biases. We identify that they do exist. So how do we overcome it? And we're not gonna save everything right now, but how do we how do we think that we can overcome it? How do you think we can overcome it, Ms. Nicole, and identify it and try to work towards it? How do you think that? And I know that you said we're already kind of like doing it a little bit now, but how do you think that we can overcome it?
Yeah, so when I think about overcoming, it's almost one of those things where I don't feel that we will forever be able to close. I don't think that gap is going to ever be fully closed, just to be honest. However, I feel like there's things that can be done to continue to make progress and to close that gap. I feel like I have been reading this gender diversity report it's basically a report that comes out each year for women in tech. And so they do like these different types of benchmarking and looking at to see how do we compare to men in the same type of environment, as well as not just women, but also looking at women of a minority background also in some of these fields. And so some of the interesting facts that I had recently read is that women make up of 33% of tech-related workforce. That's pretty low compared to the other, what is that, 67%, which is honestly consistent with what I've seen in some tech companies. It starts with the hiring process. It's like, of course, the gap is not going to be closed if we still have way more men being hired in these positions than women. But at the same time, women, we have to um, get our credentials.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you got to go out and jump and get a 4-year degree or a master's degree or a PhD, but we need to get credentials behind our names, whether that is taking certification. So we always have to do just a little bit above. We can't just maintain being status quo or maintain just being a little above average. So it's also about educating ourselves, taking on those little extra projects, things that we can do to kind of help market ourselves as well. And then when you're looking at that, another interesting fact that came out is that when you're looking into those roles like computer science and programming, data science, software engineering, it's like a 4-to-1 ratio. Again, that also comes with, what are we doing to educate ourselves to be a part of that program. And then also you have to look at that that pay gap. This is one of the big things um, that we've been trying to push as well, is to close that pay gap. But it is closing some. Overall, women they earn about 80% of the average of men's earnings. However, in the technology field, that has increased to 87%. And so yes, it's slightly higher, but there's still room for growth, and ways that we can continue is also advocating for ourselves, and then also having our male counterparts, having our male people that are in positions of influence and power to also speak up for us women. Also look for those mentors. Not saying you have to have a male mentor, but it really helps to just broaden our horizon, just expand our knowledge. Look for other types of programs, of business programs to get involved in, or so I don't want to call it social groups, but look for those different types of resource groups to integrate yourself in. And I just think it just comes with just having conversations like this, bringing out facts. I like to talk more about facts than just with feelings, because I think it will speak louder if I can present you with facts to show you on paper those gaps, the different gaps that do exist.
What about you, Miss Lantonette?
Yeah, so those numbers that Ms. Nicole talked about in the text field, it's not too far off um, across the board, because I'm getting some of the same information, but across the board, those numbers are pretty aligned up pretty much across the board. But I think, first of all, yes, we definitely have to have a conversation about it. We have to acknowledge it and understand, and then, like she said, educate ourselves, talk about it, provide training, the certification, as she said. Knowledge is power. And so as women, we should invest in ourselves. As Tamika said earlier, Miss Tamika said earlier, stay in the ship. Don't let those barriers overcome us. We overcome those barriers, right? We don't just because it's hard, that doesn't mean we can't conquer them. We can conquer them. We just have to invest in doing whatever it takes to overcome them. And so it's doable. And so we just have to like educate, train, invest not only in ourselves, but the women around us, or our subordinates. Invest in them, that they may be able to come up, up the ladder as well, instead of working against each other. Work together, mentor our subordinates, or other ladies, and also have a mentor. And so, yeah, I think those are some ways that we can do it. Definitely know that it's there. Don't sweep it under the carpet. It's not going to go away. And so, yeah, I think those are some ways that we can overcome those barriers.
What about like doing like mandatory like assessment testing for certain skills? Like, do you think that will work? Like, I know, like in the military, we do assessment tests, and I don't know, I'm not know about civilian, like I don't know about civilian jobs, but in the military, we do like assessment tests. So, do you think like once you apply for the job, you do an assessment test to make it equal? Do you think that will do you think that will work, or
Well,
it's a waste of time, or it could be is ways around that also,
um, I'm not quite sure. I wouldn't say,
or like
I
a
mean,
skill
it's
test?
worth it, but assessment, because some people are not good testers. So, I mean, if you have verbal or maybe hands-on,
Mhm.
maybe hands-on, we do hands-on. I know we used to do hands-on with equipment, but if it's written assessment test, it's so many ways you could do it, because you have the virtual world now. It's so many ways you could do assessment tests. I suppose it could be one way of doing it. Yeah, it could be.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Miss Nicole? You think?
So, assessment tests. I will tell you, I don't like them. Not necessarily the personality test. I think those are fine. I actually kind of enjoyed doing those, um just to kind of see how things have changed over the years. Just
Mm-hmm.
we change, and but I will say I hate standardized assessment tests because you can weed out people that you may not necessarily need to. Could be a total rock star for you, but because of this assessment test. And I'm glad that you brought this up because I've worked for a company before where they've utilized assessment tests. Just that's just one of the first things that they do, besides the personality and behavior test, and then you do this assessment where you're trying to answer as many questions as you can, 50 questions in like 10 minutes or whatever, just to see how many. And it has nothing to do with whether you do that job or not. And so um, we've we've had to kind of start looking at that to see if it's weeding out people based on that test. You could be weeding out people that may have certain types of disabilities that doesn't affect them to actually do their job, but it's not geared to help, to help be inclusive. Or you can look at your results and say, I'm noticing it's weeding out a lot of Latin and Latinx people. That's a trend. There's an issue with that. Or it's only geared to only, um, we're getting a lot of maybe male between the ages of 25 and 45. So those tests, you may need to administer certain things to kind of look at the data to see what the trends will tell you. But at the same time, once you see that, you can't ignore it. You have to say, what do we need to do? Maybe this is not the right assessment. Maybe this is not the right way to go, because you can weed out people in the interviewing process that truly may be a good fit for the job. But some standardized assessment test is saying, nope, she couldn't answer that many questions right. Out of 50 questions, she couldn't answer enough in 10 minutes. And if you like me, I'm way too analytical. I need, that time frame is just not enough for me. But we've seen the downside of that, it's a little difficult at times to navigate.
Okay. Okay. And then last question, Miss Lynette, Lantonette, can you give a woman? She's at her wits' end. She is frustrated. She is frustrated. She's on the verge of quitting, giving up on her business, quitting her job. What would you tell her?
Um,
Because
I would.
you was her. You was her. So you talk to her. You talk to her.
Okay. I would tell her, this is what I would tell her. Okay. I'm a pastor. So
Okay.
I would tell her, whatever you do it unto God. And when you do your best and you do it unto God, you will do your best. And know that the reward is better than any award. Because when you're rewarded, it's better than any award that you can have. So And of course, the mothers of the church used to say, hang on in there, keep hanging on in there. And so because at the end of the tunnel, there's light, right? So don't wave the white flag, don't surrender. Just hang on in there because your strength is going to come, right? And you will make it to the end. So whatever you do it as unto the Lord, and your strength will come and you'll make it. You will stay in that boat and you will stay afloat.
How about you,
Yeah.
Miss Nicole?
Honestly, I do agree when she says, working as if you're working unto the Lord, because, that is a great mindset to have. But I will also say, um, don't make decisions on impulse. Talk, if you have a mentor, if you have a trusted source, um, someone that you can talk to kind of hear you out before you start making any rash decisions, that would be great. But I also will say, know your limits, because I have reached that point before in my career where I felt a total burnt out. I have done all that I could do. I have nothing left to give. And I can't bloom where I'm planted if I'm not nourishing myself, if I'm not pouring back into myself. I can't water in anybody else if I'm not watering myself. So I had to, you have to realize and know what your limits are. And then if you feel that it is truly time for you to leave, don't just take the first thing that's thrown at you. You really want to make sure you're not jumping out of one frying pan into another. So you want to just do your homework. You want to, for me, because of my personal beliefs, I like to pray to make sure that I'm making that right decision. I want to make sure I'm being led, and not Nicole led, and not led by the flesh, because the flesh can act up at times. And I just want, just to make sure you have that clarity before you make those decisions. There are times where you just truly have to make that decision. And then also, depending on your relationship with your boss. I have had relationships with some of my management where I could go and talk to them. Hey, I'm feeling this. Hey, I'm burnt out. Hey, I'm not happy right now. And because I'm so confident in my work ethics and my, that that was a good conversation, because of course, they would want to retain me. But you have to also be careful with that too, of how you approach it. I would say be very professional. Don't go in throwing your weight around and doing things disrespectful, because at the end of the day, they'll say that we're all dispensable. But you shouldn't live in fear either because of that either.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good. So I would say, and just like you, Nicole, and Miss Linda, I was there, and I'm a people pleaser. Okay,
Yeah.
I would say yes to everybody but me. Okay,
Mm.
Sure.
and I don't even realize who I'm saying yes to until they come back to me and say, "Remember this and remember that," and I'm like, I did not remember. So I'm so burnt out, so overwhelmed, and so tired that I should be upset with me and not upset with
Mm-hmm.
everybody else, because
Mm-hmm.
I gave them my yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So they're counting on me. So am I really upset with them, or am I really upset with me?
Mm-hmm.
And then now I have to find reasons to be upset. Now I got to find, well, they did this and they did that. Now I have to find
Mm-hmm.
excuses. Now I'm finding excuses why
Mm-hmm.
I'm upset. Now, is it because I'm a female, or now I'm finding excuses. So, one, I would say, take the time to see what's the reason. What's the reason first? And if it's, if you can work it out. Um, um, Also, if you can fix it, try to fix it. Don't be so quick and react off of emotions,
Mhm.
because sometimes we are quick, and me too. Sometimes I'll be like, you know what? I'll keep it in and keep it in and keep it in, and then explode.
Mm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so So and it doesn't matter who gets it. Whoever's in sight, whoever's in sight is gonna get it. So you have to just think and hold your tongue, and and probably just have like mature conversations. But sometimes when it's time to go, you're gonna know when it's time to go. You're gonna know when it's time to
Mhm.
go, and you need to have an exit plan. You need to have an exit plan because just like Ms. Nicole said, you don't want to go on one frying pan to another frying pan, and you
Mhm.
don't want to bring that same mistake, that same yes, 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 yes to
Oh yeah.
another situation. You don't want
Mhm.
to bring that same
Mhm.
situation. So you need to find out, okay, look, what did I do wrong, or what didn't I do over here, so I won't do it over to my next journey, my next destination. So you want to make sure that you have a strategy and a strategic plan when you go to the next destination. Some things can't be avoided. Some things
Mhm.
cannot be avoided. But you just want to make sure that you pray, um, and
Definitely.
yeah, you want to make sure that. I mean, I don't know what your faith is, but I don't move without God.
That's it.
I don't move. I don't make moves without God. So
That's it.
I wanna make. And sometimes I'll move before God, but I'll move without God. So I want to make sure I'm praying and make sure I'm making the right decision. But sometimes you have to go, but make sure you're making the right decision for yourself, and if you have a family, for your family, and for your own mental, because
Mhm.
and that's a whole different conversation.
Yes.
That's a whole different conversation, ladies.
Another show.
For your mental. Um,
Mhm.
but ladies, we can talk about just breaking gender biases. Like I said, we're not gonna fix everything right here, but I just wanted to, just to give the people on the platform. I just wanted to, just to give them just some gems, or just having that hip pocket, just to take back, and it's like, look, I got a little bit of ammunition, or I got a little bit of fuel just to make it through the day. So
Mhm.
I thank you for just sharing y'all experiences. Thank you for being transparent. Again, Miss Nicole, congratulations on
Thank
your
you.
nuptials. And I thank you. I thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you. Thank you so
you.
much for the
Pleasure.
conversation.
You are welcome. You are welcome. So, ladies, we have Dr. Tavis Taylor. She's a powerful catalyst for change, for empowerment by blending positive strategic business approaches and inner healing. She empowers driven women to heal, uncover their untapped potential, and flourish their entrepreneurs while preparing for retirement. Her objective is to positive transformations in individuals' lives by shifting their outlook and nurturing their personal and professional growth. Y'all, please, please, please give a warm welcome to the Miss Dr. Beautiful Tavis Taylor. And I'm sorry I messed that all up. You are so beautiful. How are you doing today? You gotta come up. You
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing, beautiful?
Hey, hey, hey. I'm excited. How are you?
I am well.
Good, good, good. You ladies just killed it, right?
Thank
Y'all just
thank you.
y'all just killed it. Yeah. And that was really, really good and really, really solid. I'm excited to be here on tonight for my conversation and the role that I'll play on tonight. And we're going to get right into it. First of all, I want to thank Tamika for trusting me with her platform and with this conversation on tonight. The introductions have been made, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, here's a caveat, right? I am going to be 100% Dr. Tavis. So I'll go in and out of two worlds, my very professional world and also my world of listen. We're so amazing and we're so awesome. Sis, let's get to the bag, right? It's so good to be here with so many amazing women who will listen today, tomorrow, and those who will come and listen on YouTube in years to come. Because we're a force to be reckoned with. We're here because we're ready to rise up, to support each other, and to become the leaders that we were meant to be. Now, most of the people that know me know I'm all about helping my sisters tap into their entrepreneur spirit, that drive, that zeal to leave their impact here in the earth, both in their personal and their professional careers. So, what we're going to do is we're going to unlock that power on tonight. We're going to unlock it together, and we're also going to level up together. For too long, the world has tried to tell us what we can and what we can't do. And sometimes we buy into that, right? But listen, we're done with that. No more limitations. It's time to break down those barriers and show the world who we are. But guess what? Because the tide is turning, because we are at the Energize Her Summit, we are seeing more and more women breaking through, taking charge, and we're showing the world who we are and who we're capable of and what we're capable of doing. Now, the only way we're able to do this, and you just heard three of my coaching colleagues and teaching colleagues and professional colleagues just kill the game. The only way we're able to do this is understanding our brain power. That's it. Understanding our brain power. There's a science called neuropsychology, and that study shows how our brain works. I studied positive neuropsychology because I want to focus on the good stuff. And that's what positive neuropsychology does. It focuses more on your strengths than your weaknesses. It focuses on those positive aspects that's on the inside of you, focusing on what's right instead of what's wrong. Did you know that we can actually rewire our brains to become more confident and more positive so that we can lead more and be ready to lead? Let me tell you how you know this. We all have this one friend that when we talk to that person, whether it's something professional or something personal, that really can cause us to be a Debbie Downer. But we also have those people that when we reach out to them or when we scroll down social media and we read what they are saying, it's like they give us a jolt because we understand the power of what's coming into our mental software and what's going out. And so I'm hoping that this summit will give us a mental software upgrade. Simply shift our mindset. Because we've been running the show, because we know so much, whether we are secretaries, doctor, lawyers, or Indian chiefs. The first thing I want to talk about in my first point is we have to cultivate a growth mindset. Listen up. If we are going to tap into this next dispensation of the wealth transfer, and if we are going to leave a legacy and a wealth of legacy with our children, we've got to bring these fresh ideas to the table. We have to know how to work together and lead with our heart. The world needs more of us working together than working separate. That means cultivating that growth mindset that says, wait a second, basically, I can learn something new, I can grow, I can get better no matter what the circumstances are. So it doesn't matter how you was raised. It doesn't matter what mama and them did. It doesn't matter what your pedigree is. When you adopt a growth mindset, it says, I know that my brain is a muscle and I can get stronger with practice and stronger in time. When you have a growth mindset, you're not afraid of challenges because here's the thing, challenges are going to come. You understand that those are opportunities for you to level up. You don't let setbacks hold you back because you know you can learn from them and come back even stronger. So let me ask you this. What have you put down because challenges showed up? What did you put down because you didn't realize, wait a second, I don't have to have a fixed mindset that says, okay, I'm not a leader. My third grade teacher said I wasn't a leader. I don't have to buy into that. I can tap into a group of women like those at the Energize Her Summit, and I can follow those women on social media who had the courage, right, to operate in their lane of genius. And I can operate and I can adopt a growth mindset that says, I can do it. Did you know that your brain is your secret weapon? And a growth mindset is the key to unlocking your full potential. Which leads me to my next point. You can retrain your brain. Oh, yes, you can retrain your brain. Did you know that your brain is like Play Doh? And I'm trying to like dummy down all of these because I can give you all these scientific terms and you'll have to go look them up and all these psychology terms. But I want you to know that your brain is like Play Doh. It can change, it can grow depending on how you use it. Scientifically and psychologically, it's called neuroplasticity. It's pretty amazing. By constantly learning new things and challenging ourselves and stepping outside of our comfort zone, we can actually rewire our brains to become more powerful. We can boost those skills that make us amazing leaders, like making tough decisions, solving problems like the bosses that we are, and staying cool, calm, and collected under pressure. So keep learning, keep growing, keep pushing. Our brains are our secret weapon. My next point, the E word. We have to learn to control our emotions. Let's be real. Being a leader is so stressful. I mean, my God, today being a mom, you're a leader. In your business, you are a leader. On the job, without a title, you're still the leader. In your church, oh my God, today you're still a leader. And so there's pressure that make us operate under certain circumstances. There are tough situations that tend to show up. Stay strong when things get crazy. We can train our brain to handle these stresses like a boss. Positive neuropsychology gives us the tools to build our resilience so we can bounce back from setbacks and stay cool, calm, and collected under pressure. Come on now, you know you've been in a meeting with somebody who you wanted to tell one thing, but you knew that your income was based off of whether or not you told that person off. So you had to stay cool, calm, and collective. That's you controlling your emotion. It's like having this mental shield that protects us from negativity and help us to stay focused on our goals. Control your emotions. We can learn techniques to reframe our negative thoughts, manage our emotions, and stay grounded even when things are hectic. The more you practice, the stronger your resiliency become. Listen, ladies, we've got this. And I want to talk about self-love, self-compassion, or treating yourself with kindness and understanding. Did you know that when you're more compassionate on yourself, it reduces stress and anxiety? It also promotes emotional regulation, allowing you to better manage challenging situations. My next point, slay those negative thoughts. Negative self talk can activate the fear center of the brain. And the fear center of the brain is your amygdala, it's your fight or flight part of the brain. It leads to stress and anxiety. When you are stressed, and when you say, for instance, if somebody yell at you and you yell back, that's your fight or flight mode part of your brain. But I'm telling you, because of negative self talk, it's almost like you walk into that office or you pull up and you're sitting in the car and you have a meeting with your boss or maybe a contractor or one of your clients that really get on your last nerves, and you sit there and you think, she got one more time to say something to me. That's negative self-talk. But if you can replace those negative thoughts with positive affirmations, not only does that help you rewire your brain for greater self control, self belief, and resilience, but it also massages what's called your reticular activating system. And your reticular activating system, your RAS, right? I want you to start telling your friends, girl, I'm controlling my RAS. I'm retraining my RAS. That's the part of your brain that filters information in. Garbage in means garbage out. Positivity in means positivity out. It's kind of like when you buy a new car, right? You buy a new car. I had a friend, he bought him a new G Wagon, and I don't like G Wagons, but he bought a new G Wagon, and every time he turned around, he saw another one and another one. He thought he had a collector's edition. No, guess what happened? When we purchase cars and what we focus on, we tend to attract that. Now I am a pastor. And the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So is he. And in studying the brain, I realized that there is psychology and science to match up or to back up what the Bible says. Whatever you think about is what you're going to attract. So if you slay your negative thoughts and you retrain your brain, being a leader is not easy. We're going to face challenges, but we have to have that self compassion, and we have to know that I am going to work enough on me so that I don't forfeit what God has given me. And lastly, community is so important. Some people call it community. We can call it squad goals. Whatever it is, you're going to have strong social connections. They're essential for your well being. I had an event this weekend in Atlanta. It was one of my mentees, and she's a part of my mastermind. She's also a member of my church, but it was her birthday. She flew into town. Another young lady flew into town. Other ladies drove a distance, and we were able to get together, right, and fellowship and have an amazing time. They are my squad, and I am their squad. And it is so essential for our well being. We are going to Cancun next month because we understand that studies have shown that people with supportive relationships have lower levels of stress hormones. They have better cardiovascular health. They have stronger immune systems. In the corporate world, we call it the power of connections. However, you want to slice it, you have got to have some strong social connections. It's good for your health. And guess what? That networking and those opportunities, Tamika knows what I do. She'll refer somebody to me. I know what she does. And because we have a strong social connection, it's easy for me to refer somebody to her as well. So the power of connection is so important. So let's do this. Let's level up together. Let's create opportunities for all of us to learn and grow through think workshops, mentoring programs, coaching sessions, and also just like this event, the Energize Her Summit. Self care ain't selfish. Let's understand that we can't pour from an empty cup, right? We've got to take care of our mental and emotional health because it's so crucial. One of my mastermind participants and my mentee, she's going to talk about self care. I think it's on Friday. And then we need to shine light on our sheroes. We need to celebrate the amazing women who are already killing it in leadership roles. Their stories inspire us and show us that anything is possible. So where do I get started, Dr. Tavis? Let me tell you this. Number one, start with a gratitude journal. Start there, writing down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for each day. Did you know that this simple practice can shift your focus to the positive and rewire your brain for happiness? Number two, practice mindful breathing for 5 minutes a day. When was the last time you just sat still, no phone, nothing else? You just sat there for 5 minutes. And for those of you that's just like, oh my gosh, she's a pastor talking about mindful breathing. Absolutely. The Bible says meditate on the word day and night. What are you doing with it? Identify one limited belief and challenge it. What's one negative thing that's holding you back from applying for that leadership role? From launching that business or that brand? Write it down and then write a counter argument based on your strengths and your past successes. Reach out to a mentor or role model. You have to seek guidance and support from someone you admire. See, it's their experiences and insights that can help you navigate challenges and build confidence. Number 5 is one of my favorites. Celebrate your wins, big and small. You didn't get the position, but at least you applied. Acknowledge your accomplishment. That was a major step for you, right? You need to celebrate that. Did you know that celebrating successes reinforce positive neural pathways and it fuels motivation? Number 6, can you practice self-compassion when facing setbacks? Instead of self-criticism, treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Remember, setbacks are opportunities for learning and growth. Number 8, create a positive affirmation and read it daily. I am a leader. I am confident. Remember, repeating this affirmation is retraining your RAS. You're rewiring your brain for greater self-belief. Join a professional development group for women. Connect with other women who share similar beliefs and challenges, and they can help cultivate the gift inside of you. And lastly, schedule time for activities that bring you joy. We're so busy and we want to win so bad. Can you make time for some hobbies and some activities or experiences that uplift you and recharge your energy? Remember, this isn't just something that I'm just doing just because it's a great topic. I've studied this and I understand this. This is about taking control, using the power of our minds to create a world where women lead with strength, compassion, and brilliance. See, we're going to break down those old barriers and build a future where leadership isn't about gender, it's about who we are and what we have already achieved and what we can achieve together. So let's do this. Let's make a commitment to support each other, to lift each other up, and to unlock the incredible power within each of us. We're a force to be reckoned with, and we're ready to change the world. Thank you all so much for listening. I know that there are some world changers and game changers in the room on tonight, and I'm super duper excited about it. Thank you so much, Tamika, for this opportunity. I really hope that this blessed the people on tonight.
Listen, if it didn't bless them, it blessed me, okay? If it didn't bless them, it blessed me. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is absolutely amazing. I appreciate you for sharing. I appreciate
Absolutely.
you for being showing up as Dr. Tavis as only you can. Okay. I appreciate you. And I know that it's released a lot of people and it's going to release even more as more tune in and catch what it is that you had to say tonight. So I appreciate you, Dr. Tavis. Thank you so much for your yes.
Thank you.
Listen, you all make sure you connect with Dr. Tavis, okay? Dr. Tavis, tell her. As a matter of fact, how can they reach you and connect with you, Dr. Tavis?
So one of the best ways is my Ask Dr. Tavis on Instagram or Dr. Tavis Taylor on Facebook. Those are the best ways to connect with me. We got some amazing things that's coming up. I'm super excited about it, Tamika. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, y'all, connect with Dr. Tavis. I'm getting off the screen. I don't want to take her off, y'all. I don't want to take her off because she got a lot more in her. But I'm not going to misuse and abuse what I have access to. But I would love for you all to connect with her, as well as connect with all of the other amazing ladies that have shared and transparently shared their journey, their knowledge, their expertise with us tonight, as we are talking about overcoming. Overcoming. Listen, I have a special guest coming up, but before I do that, like I want to just take a moment to say thank you to all of our amazing sponsors. I don't know if y'all caught that, okay? We have some amazing sponsors. We have Sis Means Business as a sponsor, Mogul TV Global Network as a sponsor, Moshe as a sponsor, as well as the leading executive. Check all of them out. Sis Mean Business Conference is a conference that's happening here in 2024. Actually, I should have asked Dr. Tavis about it because that's actually a conference that Dr. Tavis is hosting. Sis Means Business Conference. I'll make sure that we put the link so that you can click on it. Click on the link to go check it out and learn more about it and register to attend. Be in the room, get in the room, understand what it is that you need to do because listen, sis means business, okay? And thank you so much to Moshe, always supporting all of the amazing things that we're doing here with energizeHER. Moshe Incorporated is a nonprofit based out of Texas, the Dallas Fort Worth area, doing some amazing community work, social impact work. Listen, connect with these amazing sponsors. I appreciate each of them for saying yes and for showing up and blessing us with how they have. So thank you to each of them. Listen, tonight was all about overcoming something. What is it that we want to overcome? How can we overcome? You know, the Latasha spoke to us about overcoming those lies that we keep feeding ourselves of what it is that we can and cannot do. Then we had the panel come through and they talked to us about overcoming the gender bias in our careers and our business. Then you had Dr. Tavis come through, overcoming all of that negative stuff that we keep piling up on ourselves, but all about our minds and how we can expand our minds, how we can retrain the brain. I love that, Dr. Tavis. And so, listen, I have a special guest. I have a special guest, and you know, this is a different perspective, which you probably wouldn't expect on a platform that's all about women. But you know, there's a lot of women who have male counterparts. Okay, whether they are our boos, our bays, or our husbands and husbands. But tonight, I have our first gent who is joining us on the Energizer platform, Mr. Antonio Mitchell. We call him Mr. Tony for short.
Hey, Tamika.
Hey, how are you?
I am good. I'm good. It's been a
Listen,
long time.
it's been a long time, y'all. It's been a long time, but I get so excited when I see good people. I get so excited when I see good faces. And I know there's going to be a good conversation. So thank you for your yes. Mr. Antonio Mitchell was listen, I reached out, say, listen, I'm doing something a little bit different. Okay. This is for the women, but we want to make sure that we have a man's point of view. Sometimes you can get a little backlash from that because what a man gonna tell me what to do. Well, listen, you might not have a man. Okay. But anywho, we're gonna talk and we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time. We're talking to Mr. Antonio Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, please introduce yourself real quick for us, please.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Antonio Mitchell, but I go by Tony, and I am married to the wonderful, beautiful Sanita Mitchell, who is in class right now, but I'm sure she will check out, this podcast or this event when she gets home later on today. Recently, I just graduated this past Saturday with my master's in divinity. So,
awesome.
Yeah, so that's a big, huge thing for me. Sunita and I have been married for about 15 years. It'll be 15 years this year. So wow. 15 years. We have, it seems like we got a whole bunch of kids, but we got at least about 6 kids. And 1 grandson. So
congratulations on a grandbaby.
Yes.
Amazing. So listen, I'm not gonna put a good girl Sunita out there tonight, but we're gonna ask you some questions and we're gonna have a good conversation on the man and how men show up and how men can support us as women when we are focusing on overcoming some things in our lives to get to our next level, to get to our next greater, the thing that we are trying to accomplish and achieve in life. And so as a husband, I got my little cue cards here, okay? As a husband, Mr. Tony, I want to talk about the personal commitment to supporting your wife, right? The personal commitment, because I've been married. I ain't gonna say I've been married. I'm married. I've been married for 25 years now, and it's a personal commitment because you have to willingly say yes that you're going to support your spouse, your significant other, and what it is that they're doing, their dreams and their goals. But what inspired you to actively support Miss Anita? Like, what inspired you to support her?
Well, that's a really good question. Supporting Sanita is almost in the same vein as supporting myself.
Right.
We're married. We're one. We're one unit. We're one team. So for me, if I don't support her dreams, her aspirations, her goals, if I don't feed into her the way I should as a husband and support her as a husband, I'm her biggest cheerleader. Right. But if I'm cheering in the background or I'm saying, hey, you just go do your thing, and I don't do anything to show action to support what I'm saying, then it appears as if I'm with you, but I'm not with you. Mm-hmm. Because when she wins, I win.
Come on.
Just like this weekend, she celebrated me, on my accomplishment. But it wasn't until I made the commitment and I told her about it. And I said, hey, I want to go to seminary. And she fully supported me. And not only did she support me verbally, she supported me by giving me my study time. She supported me by taking the kids out. She supported me by taking care of all the other things that normally I would take care of, to give me that time to focus on what I was trying to do. Right. Now it's her season. She's going to grad school. She's getting ready to start her practicums so she can finish her master's degree next year. Guess what? I'm here at home. I'm cooking dinner. I'm making sure that the house is clean, even though we're trying to move. I'm trying to make sure that everything is fine. So when she comes home tonight from class, she doesn't have to worry about anything.
Right.
So it's more than just a verbal aspect. You have to show through your actions. You have to also show with love deposits.
Come on. Can we talk about the love deposits? So can we talk about the love deposits? All right.
Love deposits are speaking your significant other's love language.
Come on.
Sanita is all about the task. She's all about the accomplishing things. She loves to check things off. So if I clean the house, or if I cook dinner, or if I wash and fold and put up the clothes, not just wash the clothes and just put them up somewhere, but wash them, fold them, and put them up. Oh man, I'm dropping love deposits in there. So you have to know what your spouse's love language is. And once you know it, then have that open communication. How can I help you? I think that's one of the biggest things we don't actually ask our spouses all the time. How can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that one simple question can mean so much, because
Right.
there could be so much that Sunita could have on her shoulders that I could take on my shoulders because I have broader shoulders. Now I could carry that weight.
Right. I know that as women, a lot of times we will take things on and we'll just like, you know what, I got it. Don't worry about it. Just go and do what you got to do. Listen, don't stress yourself about it. But it becomes hard for us to say, hey, I need some help. It becomes hard to say, hey, can you help me? Or can you do this thing? Or can you do that? So I appreciate the way that you said, while she's in her season, I'm going to handle all of this. She don't even have to ask for it. Right. She don't even have to ask for it. I'm going to do it because that's what she did for me. So I
Exactly.
appreciate you, for representing the men around here. Okay. So let's talk about, you know, there's going to be challenges that she's going to, face. There's going to be a challenge, she's in grad school now. There's going to be a challenge and she may be like, I'm tired. Like this may be a concept that she needs to learn. And it may be one hard concept. When it comes to overcoming some biases, how what are some things that we can do or that men can do to support us as women, as we are struggling to overcome some societal biases, or whether it's something that we have to deal with ourselves? Like, what are some things that men can do, outside of just showing up and doing the things around the house? Like, what are some things that you would suggest that men do?
Oh, that's a really good question. So I work in IT, and I work for IT in the federal government, and I love the current trend that's progressing right now. We're getting more women, not just as techies, but we're getting women in IT that are being CIOs, that are being executives,
Right.
making critical decisions, not only in the public sector, but in the private sector as well. So as a man, and in supporting Sunita and supporting other women across all professions, it's our duty to try to present an open door opportunity to them. It's up to us because, as you know, I speak to this, as African Americans, we have to overcome some additional hurdles that some of our other brothers and sisters might not have to overcome. So it's on us to try to encourage. It's on us to try to pass knowledge down. That's one of the key things. Pass the knowledge, the things that you have learned, the things you have experienced. Share that with someone because that will help someone down the road. A lot of the things that Sunita is going through right now, and going back to her master's degree program, I'm sharing all of my experiences with her to help her out because guess what? I've done this 3 times over.
Right.
So it's like, hey, you're going to experience this. You're going to experience burnout doing this. This is how you should handle it, or this is how I should handle it. I would recommend that you handle it. So providing that advice and providing that encouragement, because you said one of the key things, you're tired, you're trying to take on the whole world by yourself. Sometimes you just got to let your significant other know, hey, if you just need a shoulder to just cry on, I'm right here. If you just need someone to talk to, Sunita would come home and she would tell me her whole entire day. And I would just sit there and just listen. I would just let her just let it all out.
Oh, that's
So there's various ways to just show that support, but also when you provide recommendations, I've learned this. Now I've learned it the hard way. When you provide recommendations, don't say it in a tone of you need to do this. Say it as, hey, this is something for you to think about. This is something for you to consider. Because at the end of the day, we're all grown people. We all make our own decisions. Even though we're married in some capacities, we still make our own decisions. So I have learned to say, well, you need to do this. And I've learned to say, well, here's how I might approach it. And you can take it how you see it. So those kind of things can help not only keep the lines of communication open, but also they can allow more communication to come because the last thing I want Sunita to do is to shut down.
right. Right. I love that. It's all about the delivery, how you deliver what it is that you say. I ain't gonna put in my thought. I'm about to put my husband all under the bus, but I ain't gonna do that tonight. Okay.
Please don't do that.
I'm not gonna do it to him. But you know, that's something that we have discussed. It's all about how you say what it is that you say. I don't have a problem with hearing what you say and listening and taking that recommendation, but it's all about the delivery. Please don't come to me and keep talking about you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do that. Like that is one thing that I know I'm not alone. And listen, ladies, y'all better back me up on this. And somebody in the comments, let me know. Have you ever been in a situation you felt like, you know what? It's about the delivery. If you would have said that a little bit better or a little bit different, the way that you suggested or recommended some things, I might have taken it and not got ready to snap your neck. Okay. Thank you, Ivory. Yes, I am not alone. So listen, when it comes to ambition, encouraging ambition. So in what ways have you encouraged your wife to pursue her passions? Right?
Oh man. Oh, that's Shanita is ambitious. I mean, it's just part of her fabric.
Yeah.
She is an entrepreneur at heart. And recently she just launched her new business endeavor, Joy Break Forth,
Yeah.
and that business endeavor, that ambition has been phenomenal. The results that she is seeing thus far. For me, I had to learn to let Sunita do it the way she sees fit. Now, for me, I'm a more, hey, plan things out. Hey, plan things out. We need to have every detail documented and flow. And, we need to make sure that, hey, this is checking here and this is checking over here before we can move over here. Sunita's like, hey, I'm ready to go. Let's go. And, for me, it's against what I believe or how I operate. But at the same time, I don't want to constrain her to fit the context of what I think is the method or the way she should go about doing her business. So, for me, it's more or less like, hey, okay, you know what? You want to start this new business? Cool. What is your overall plan? What is your overall scope? Who is your overall customer? Who are you really trying to reach? What is the purpose? So I asked those high level questions enough to just get the information that I need to understand, hey, how can I help you? Also, at the same time, not try to constrain her so that she feels like I got to do a plethora of things in order to meet what Tony thinks I should have.
Right. Like, listen, y'all, Tony is the business coach without the business coach title. Okay. I love it though. I love it because again, it shows your interest in what it is that she wants to do, right? And the more I think that we open up and we share what it is that we're doing and what our plan is, what our vision is for it. Now, even though you may not see the whole vision or may not be able to understand the whole vision, at least she does, but it allows you to have be in that inner circle, if you will, of in her mind, the inner circle, that mental inner circle of, okay, this is how I can support her while she's doing this, because now I know what her game plan is. This is where I can see myself fitting in to support her so that she doesn't feel overwhelmed, or so that she doesn't feel like, okay, this is not working, I'm just giving up, right? So I love the fact that you know how to encourage her ambition. That's a big thing.
And
So
then I want to say something real quick.
yeah.
Even, and this is for the men, even if you don't really understand the vision right then and there when your wife or your significant other expresses to you what they want to do, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, you know what? Let me think on it and let me process it. There's nothing wrong, because you're doing two things right there. You're acknowledging, hey, I heard you. I heard what you're trying to do. And you're also saying, hey, because I heard you and I listened and I'm really trying to figure out how I can help you, let me take a pause let me understand this. Let me process it in my mind because hey, I you women, you can process things a whole lot faster than we can.
Easy.
Easy. So let me have a moment to just formulate all of this. And then once I formulate, I'm gonna come right back to you. And I'm gonna repeat what I thought I heard from you. That lets them know one, you're paying attention because most women think, hey, they talk to us and we don't pay attention. So when you come back and you repeat what you heard, that lets her know, hey, I can share more information. Hey, he was really interested in what I was trying to do. Hey, he's really invested in what
Right.
I'm trying to do.
Right.
So it's all about, hey, if you don't get it right then and there, take a time out. There's nothing wrong with it.
Again, it's all about the delivery. Okay. For any gent who may be tuning in and tune in later, listen, it's your delivery. Check it. Okay. Okay.
It's
So
your
listen,
delivery.
I have a few more questions that I want to ask you, but I will say, ladies that are here, put if you have any questions for Mr. Tony, go ahead and put them in the chat here. Put them in the chat. We would definitely get to them and pull them up so we can get that good answer. All right. So, Mr. Tony,
Yes,
when it
ma'am.
comes to supporting her mental wellness, because right
Mm.
now mental wellness is a big thing. Again, nobody want to talk about it. We're starting to make a good shift towards trying to normalize the conversation about it without it being so taboo. But again, it's still a ways to go before we actually get all the way there. But when it comes to mental wellness, are there some signs or some things that you know and that you've noticed about your wife of when she is overwhelmed or when she is reaching a point, or based on things that may have happened in the past, you have some signs and some symptoms and some things that you can watch out for? And how do you address them before it escalates to just another level?
Oh yeah. So Sunita loves to talk. So
Sunita,
so
I didn't say that, Sunita. I did not say that. Okay.
I said that with love. I said that with love.
Yes.
But the thing about it is when Sunita, I could tell something is off when she's quiet. That lets me know, hey, she's really in deep thought about something. She's really trying to ponder what the next steps are, or it could be something that's just so heavy on her that words can't come to her right at that particular moment.
Right.
So one of the things that I like to do, and it's just my approach, is whenever I see Sunita's in that place of, hey, she's quiet, she's not really saying anything, or in some instances she might be really irritated, like little small things would just irritate her. I would say, hey, is everything good? Or hey, what's on your mind? And if she tells me, then I will listen. But also, if she doesn't immediately say, hey, this is what's bothering me, or this is what's on her mind, or she would say, hey, I'm okay, then I will respect her boundary and I will walk away. And then I will wait for another opportune time to come back because at that moment, I know something is wrong with her. But she just doesn't want to tell me at that moment. Heck, the problem might be me. So just keep it at 100. So I would give her her space
Right.
and I would give her her distance. And I think that's really important. If from the mental health perspective, I know when Mother's Day comes, I know that's going to be a time where she's going to really start missing her mom.
Hmm.
So I make sure that I don't do anything that triggers. There's certain songs that Nita doesn't want to listen to that reminds her of her mom. I would make sure I don't have that on my playlist at all. Uh,
Right.
there are certain things that I will be careful to do, to make sure that I'm being respectful in her feelings. So it's a matter of, again, knowing your spouse,
Hmm.
knowing the triggers, That's very important because my wife, she lost her mother. Then recently, just last year, lost her grandmother.
Mm.
So, those are is certain things that will remind her of them. So I will
Right.
make sure that I don't try to trigger or inappropriately say something or inappropriately do something that will, you know, kind of put her in a bad place, so to speak. But as far as mental health, I think the biggest challenge that we have faced and we have learned to cope with was the loss of our daughter, Anaya Simone, um, during not even our first year of marriage.
Wow.
That was a very painful event for both of us. Uh,
Hmm.
that was my first time experiencing pregnancy at all. So to be happily married, we're newlyweds. We find out that we're pregnant, and then all of a sudden, 10 months later, our daughter is gone.
Wow.
That was the biggest mental challenge, emotional challenge, emotional and mental roller coaster that we had to cope with. Notice I didn't say overcome. I said
Right.
cope with, because every single day, because even this year, if our daughter was still here with us, she'll be 14 years old.
Wow. Wow. 14 years ago.
So it's you always think what could have been.
Hmm.
Always think what how things could have played out. And just speaking from a mental perspective and respecting boundaries, um, the pictures of our daughter, I have only seen them maybe 4 times
Oh,
in
wow.
years.
Wow. Yeah.
And Sunita, she respects my boundary. She would
Hmm.
ask me every birthday, or she might not ask me because she know the answer would probably be no. But at some instances, she would say, "Hey, are you okay with seeing the pictures?" Or if she's going to do, like just recently, she did something for her class that talked about grief, and she
Hmm.
wanted to use Anaya and use some of the items that we got from the hospital. And she asked me for my permission. Hey, is it okay if I do this? Is it okay if I use this? And I do the same thing. I know there's certain things with Anaya I just don't touch, I don't play with, or if I do, it's always like, hey, are you okay if I do X, Y, and Z? So
Right.
when it comes
Right.
to mental health, it's all
Hmm.
about knowing significant other, and it's also respecting boundaries. And it's
Right.
also the last thing is there's nothing wrong with seeking professional help.
I love that. I love
Encourage
that.
it. Encourage it.
Yeah.
I know we pray. I know, hey, we believe in God, we have faith, but sometimes prayer and counseling work hand in hand together.
Absolutely. I believe in counseling now. Okay. Since Anita pushed me all the way into it, I would say that she was very much an encourager of me starting the process of being okay with opening up about my own mental wellness and things that had happened in my past that I hadn't really just been able to even think about moving forward or trying to move forward from being stuck in that moment, but then putting it in the back of my mind and not talking about it, not dealing with it, only led to greater hardship, greater struggles of trying to personally be okay with pretty much anything and everything and everybody too. I will say, so before I ask you this last question, before we wrap up, we had Ivory come through and she told us that sometimes we just need you to sit with us in silence. We were talking about earlier on ways that you can support with mental wellness and support with just being there. Sometimes she says sometimes we just need y'all to sit with us in silence and don't say nothing, just sit there and hold us too. Okay. Um, Gerard's in the house. So as you were speaking about your loss with Miss Anaya, he said that he experienced it too with his ex-wife, who was pregnant with twins at 5 months, and how it was tough for them as well. Absolutely. So Gerard, listen, he's standing up. He said, "Listen, I talked to my therapist too, good, bad, or indifferent." So I love that We have men who are supporting women, supporting their partners, supporting their wives, and also speaking on mental wellness, because Energize is all about mental wellness, y'all. Listen. So, Mr. Tony, before I let you go, the last question I will ask you, it's all about advice to other men. What piece of advice did you give to other men who want to support their partners but don't really know where to start? Like, you've given a lot of great insight into listening, into being in tune. But if they don't know where to start or really how to listen, because I think listening is an art as well, right?
Yes.
But if they don't know how to listen, if they don't know where to start, what is some advice that you can provide? What's one thing that you can tell them they can start doing today, tonight?
One of the great things they could do is do a self-assessment of themselves. One of the
Right.
things that Sania and I do, and we do this every 6 months, is we do our marriage report card.
Oh,
And we will grade ourselves.
oh,
She will grade herself, I grade myself, and we'll list certain criteria on which we're going to grade ourselves on. And then we'll share our grades with each other. And here's the key part. If I give myself a grade, she has the opportunity to either confirm that grade or say, hey, you know what? You graded yourself at a B, but you really kind of at a C, and here's why. So
yes.
you can't say, hey, I'm going to move you from a B to a C. You have to explain why. And
Wow.
also, once you get that final grade, your final grades, wherever it's a C and below, we never gone below a C. But it's things that you have to work on. But one of the other things I always ask myself, and I had to work on this. So trust me, it took years to get to this point. I had to look myself in the mirror and stop saying, hey, Sunita is not doing this. Hey, she's not doing that. Hey, I need her to do this. Now, when I look in the mirror, I say, Tony, what are you doing to make your marriage better? What
Come on.
are you doing to make Sunita's life a whole lot better? What are you doing to lead this family in the direction of where it should be going? I ask myself those questions. So now, instead of finger pointing at Sunita, I'm pointing at myself,
Right,
holding
right.
myself accountable. What can I do to be a better husband? What can I do to be a better best friend to my wife? How can I better support her? Am I doing everything that I should be doing? And also, too, it helps to have accountability partners,
Mm-hmm.
men that are primarily in the same group. Don't have any married men and they miserable as husbands. That's not going to work. You want to surround yourself around like-minded men who have. I like to have men who've been seasoned, who've been in the game for a long time.
Right.
Hey, pour into me. Show me some ropes. Hey, there have been, I would say, at least three of the men that pour into my life. I have to say they have helped me to avoid some unnecessary fights, and some of them
Mm-hmm.
have helped me to avoid divorce.
Right, right. I
So
love
you
that.
need to have men that will pull you to the side and say, "Hey, dude, you tripping.
Yep.
You are not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You need to turn that ship around." Yep,
Come
just
on.
like Ivory said, you need some OGs in your life. My
Right.
my uncle is a straight up OG. He would tell me in a heartbeat, dude, you slipping. You slipping bad. And you need that as a man. So it takes community to hold you accountable, but also you have to hold yourself accountable and be open and honest with yourself. Now, here's the other thing that will help you, men, with your significant others. You have to be vulnerable.
Come on. Come
One of
on.
the stereotypes that African American men we have to overcome is the lack of showing emotion.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to share your feelings with your wife, your significant other. It's okay to let them in. You know how I had to learn how to be sensitive? My youngest son. My youngest son has taught me how to be sensitive
Wow. Wow.
because he
Yes.
wears his emotions on his sleeve. You
Mm-hmm.
can tell when something is bothering him, but you can tell when he's happy. We call him Mr. Happiness because he is happy all the time. But you know when something is bothering him because his whole complexion, his whole demeanor, his whole posture just changes.
Right.
And instead of me saying, "Hey, man up," it forced me to say, "Hey, what's bothering you?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?" And that translated to doing the same thing with Sunita. I used to be like, "Man, get over there. You being too sensitive." But now it's like, "Hey, let me look at it from your perspective. Let me understand it from your lens." And that required me to strip away all this ego and this pride and allow my true openness to be open and for everyone to embrace it. And that turned out to be my greatest strength.
I love all of that. You hit on everything. I was getting ready to follow up with some things. I'm just like, oh, he hit it. Okay. Especially on that vulnerability and dropping the ego. Check the ego at the door. Don't come in the house with that ego. Leave it outside. Just stump it outside if you can. But being vulnerable. Oh wow, I love that. And then you spoke on um your son, and he helped you learn how to be a bit more vulnerable and talking and how you speak. Because I know for me, I will say this in a heartbeat. I'm just like, yeah, bro, suck that up. No, we ain't doing all that. But I've had to learn how to be more welcoming and embracing myself when it comes to this. So I appreciate you saying that because not only for men but for women as well. And Ultimate Creative, I think this is Danielle. She mentioned how women being vulnerable is can be tough for women, especially if we're dealing with feeling ashamed. I don't feel ashamed. I was just like, yeah, no, we ain't doing all that. Suck it up, let it go, let's move on. I, for me, because and I think that it comes along with my mental wellness as well. For me, I didn't want to focus on something for too long and sit still for too long. I had to keep moving. I had to keep going because the longest if I sat still for too long, then now I have all these memories coming in my head of all the other things. I'm just like, no, we got to keep moving forward. Let all that go. Let's keep going. It'll get okay. You'll be all right. So I thank you for sharing. I thank you for sharing that. But yeah, they've had some great comments as you were speaking. A lot on the accountability side. A lot about speaking good. This is some good talk for the men. Okay. Danielle, she shared that women need that too. We have to keep seasoned women around us and listen to them as well. And of course, they want a part two, and Gerard say and a part three because you know what we are. Y'all already know. But yeah, so the last thing Gerard says that the part about letting go is on point and learn what to do and how to control yourself if and when she doesn't respond like you expect. Absolutely. So thank you all for sharing in the comments. Thank you all for engaging. We appreciate you. Thank you, Antonio. I appreciate your yes. I appreciate you for coming on and sharing a man's point of view as it pertains to women and your wife and us as females, learning ways to energize our lives and overcome some things. So thank you. I appreciate you, Tony.
No, thank you for sharing me, allowing me to come on your platform. It's
Absolutely.
truly an honor. I really hope that everyone gained something from the conversation. I know I did. So,
Absolutely.
definitely, I'm a phone call, email, text away if you need me for
And you
anything.
already got it. It's already on lock. But how can the people find you? How can they find you so they can get connected with you?
So I'm on Facebook, Antonio Mitchell. Also, if you look me up for Anaya's project, you can also find me on there. But I am most active on LinkedIn. So if you look me up, Antonio in parentheses Tony Toney and Mitchell, I am more active on there. I share advice, not only from a professional standpoint, but also from a biblical perspective in regards to servant leadership. So if you really want to get in touch with me, if you really want to hear my thoughts and everything that I like to share, catch me on LinkedIn.
Catching my side, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Listen. You set it up. You set it up perfectly, okay?
I did. I set myself up.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tony, for being here tonight. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your experience and your knowledge and your expertise as you're sharing it. Make sure you all connect with Tony. Listen, this is not the last you're going to see from Tony with Energize. I promise y'all this. Like, he don't even know it just yet, but we have some amazing things planned that's coming up, and I'm excited about it. So thank you, Tony. I appreciate you. Appreciate your time. Have a good evening. Kiss all the babies and the grandbaby. Tell Sunita we say hello.
Sure will. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone.
All right. Have a good night. So listen, we made it, y'all. We made it through day one of the Energizer Leadership Summit. I'm your host, Tamika Chapman. This has been one amazing night of speaking on overcoming lies. You know, Latasha Jimerson, she spoke on overcoming the lies and the negative self-talk that we tell ourselves. We had Avery Claire come through, moderate the panel with Mrs. Nicole Davis. Sonanade, I messed that up again. I'm so sorry. And Miss Antoinette Clark, who spoke on overcoming the gender biases, breaking those barriers in careers and business. And then we had Dr. Tavis come through and just break it all down, okay? She broke it all down with our mindset and how we should be retraining our brain and how we think, what it is that we think, and because there is a power in what we think and what it is that we are expecting to happen. And then Mr. Antonio Mitchell came through and shared with us on a man's point of view and how men can show up in the lives of their significant others, in the lives of their spouses and their wives and their babes, okay, their wifeys, but showing up in support, and how to support, how to show up, what that looks like, ways that they can do it. So I thank each of you for tuning in tonight. And listen, make sure you come back tomorrow night if you enjoyed anything about tonight. Listen. We have tomorrow night that's jam-packed. We have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So tomorrow we are kicking it off with Miss Frances Futrell, who's going to be talking about just keep swimming. Listen, I talked earlier tonight about stay in the boat, sinking a sailboat. Listen, she's going to keep this thing going with the waters, all right? Just keep swimming, navigating the deep waters of grief and loss. We also have a panel on the importance of authentically showing up as you, showing up for you, showing up as yourself, the authentic way. Myself, Miss Tina F. Foy, Miss Princess Paige Rogers, as well as our special celebrity guest, Candace Nicholas Lipman. I'm super excited that she's joining us. You're gonna get some good stuff from that panel too. And then we're wrapping it up with Miss Natisha Stitt, who is giving us our interactive workshop tomorrow titled Unveiling Truth, a workshop for women's honest self-reflection. So listen, again, we are jam-packed. We are doing some amazing things this week. Tap in all week long with us. Tune in. You ain't got to go nowhere. You ain't got to get dressed. You ain't got to do your hair. Nobody's going to see you, but we want you to engage with us in the comments. We want you to engage with us and register. You still have time to register to get all of the freebies that all of our speakers and presenters are giving to you all. So thank you all again so much for tuning in, so much for joining us this night. Our first night on day one of the Energizer Leadership Summit. And again, I want to just say a big thank you to our sponsors, Sis Means Business with Dr. Tavis Taylor, Mogul TV Global Network, Moshe with Gerard Ware, as well as the leading executive. Make sure you all connect with each of them. I thank you all so much. You all have a good evening, have a good night, and I'll see you all tomorrow.